Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explain a classic movie in which an old man finds out that a new neighbor couple has arrived. He instantly becomes captivated by the woman's beauty. What happens next? Watch the full episode to know. The movie starts and we see our main character, Mike, who works as a freelancer at home. His wife works as a teacher. One day he saw through the window that some new neighbors had arrived. This was a couple whose wife's name was Jenna and the husband's name was Scott. He went to welcome them and Scott talks to him. Scott had a racing car which Mike liked very much. Scott says, "I can get you one too." Actually, Scott is a salesman, so this is what he does. Mike also met Scott's wife, Jenna. Mike said there was going to be a barbecue on Sunday and invites them both so that he will get another chance to get to know them. When his wife came home at night, he tells her about the neighbors. He says, "I have invited them for a barbecue." His wife, Lisa, says, "You should have asked me first, as I only called my friends for the barbecue." Here we can clearly see that these two husbands and wives do not have much understanding between them. Lisa is a teacher who is very frustrated with her job these days. After this, we directly watch the barbecue on Sunday. Here too, Scott was trying to sell Mike's friend's car. Mike was having a barbecue, so Jenna came to him and these two started talking. Mike asks her, "How long has it been since you got married?" Jenna says, 4 months, but we have been together for many years. Jenna noticed that Mike's garden is very beautiful and there is a lot of space in his new house, so she also wanted to develop it. She asks Mike, "Can you help me?" Mike says, "Of course I can." Here in this barbecue, Scott does not treat Jenna properly. He asks her to bring all his food and shouts at her loudly. Mike didn't like this. At night, Lisa and Mike were talking about Scott. Lisa says Scott is very funny. Mike said he is not funny. He only tells weird stories and he clearly didn't like Scott. At night, Mike was working near the window. Then he peeks at Jenna and Scott from his window. He sees that they were enjoying the time happily. Then he came to Lisa in bed, but Lisa says that "I am very busy tomorrow," and she refuses him. The next day, Jenna was looking at her garden. Then Mike came out. She was now worried about how to do her gardening. Mike tells her to start and everything will be done soon. He came and gave her a lot of tips. Jenna saw her son's photos in Mike's house, so she asks, "Where is he?" Mike says he is your age, and now he lives out of town. Jenna was thinking whether she should have children or not. Actually, Scott wanted children, but Jenna thinks she should do her career, so she was asking a question. Mike says, "You can work from home like me, and you can manage both things together." After this conversation, when Mike and Lisa were having dinner at night, Lisa was telling Mike about her day. She was frustrated that she has more work than her job, but Mike didn't pay any attention to this, and he was only thinking about Lisa. Lisa asks him what he is thinking, but Mike refutes this. That night, Mike saw through the window that there was a fight between Jenna and Scott. There was a loud noise, after which Jenna was silent. He thought Scott hit her, and he gets disturbed by this. The next day, his friend Brian came to Mike's house. Mike tells him about Jenna and Scott. Brian says, "I think Scott is a bad guy. He even tried to sell me a car." While they were talking, Jenna comes to her garden to work. Brian tells Mike that she is very beautiful. "You should try your luck." Mike is embarrassed and pretends that he doesn't see Jenna like that, but actually he thinks a lot about her. That night, Mike talked to Lisa again and asks her if she remembers her honeymoon. After this, they spend some time together, but while doing so, Mike saw Jenna in his wife. The next day, Mike was looking at his garden again. Then Jenna and Scott started fighting, and then he thought that Scott hit Jenna. He couldn't concentrate on his work that night. For a few days, Mike's son came to visit him. Mike's son also liked Scott's car. The next day when Mike was going to buy groceries, he saw Jenna outside. He tries to talk to her, but Jenna was a little late for her yoga class, so she quickly ignores him and leaves. He meets his friend Brian outside and Brian encourages him again. Mike tells him that Scott hits Jenna a lot. Brian tells him that it's their family matter. Don't get involved in this. When Mike came home, Scott was telling Lisa and Mike's son a story. He invites everyone for dinner, but Lisa's a little busy, so she refuses. Instead, her son Alex will go. Mike saw that Alex had a good friendship with Scott and Jenna, and he hangs out with them a lot. Mike doesn't like this, and he talked to Lisa about this. He said that Scott is not a good person. Alex shouldn't be with him. Lisa says that he has grown up, and you can't control him like this. Mike wanted to talk to Jenna, so he always kept an eye on her. One day when they went to take out the trash, Mike also comes to her. He says that he saw them fighting. Jenna says that it's not a big deal. Scott just drinks a lot sometimes. So he loses his control. Jenna says that don't worry too much. Everything is fine. Scott shouts at Jenna again from inside the house. Tell her to come inside soon. One day Mike and Jenna went to buy plants for their garden while talking. Mike tells her his young age story and how he smoked. Jenna says that I smoke too, but only sometimes. They both started smoking at Jenna's house after smoking. Jenna tells everything. Honestly, she says that Scott always had a problem with anger. It was less before, but it has increased a lot now. He has always been aggressive. She can't decide now because Scott wants kids. And Jenna is still confused. She thinks that it was a mistake to marry Scott. Mike says that if you think so, then you shouldn't have kids. Jenna likes that Mike can understand her. Then she hugs Mike, and at the heat of the moment, they loses control. That night when Mike and Lisa were talking, Lisa says that I am thinking that I should also go for a yoga lesson. Jenna can take me with her. Mike doesn't like the idea that Jenna and Lisa go for a yoga class together. Lisa finds it strange. She says that Jenna is young and beautiful. Do you like her? Mike says that it's nothing like that. Lisa pretends that she said something silly. One day, Mike heard a big fight between Jenna and Scott, and Jenna screamed loudly, and there was a sound of some things breaking. Mike quickly reached there. Jenna was on the ground. Scott gets angry at him and says that, "What are you doing here?" Mike says that he heard a sound of something breaking. Scott says that everything is fine here. You go home. Mike doesn't listen to Scott. He asks Jenna if she is fine. Scott gets even more angry at him. And Jenna says that everything is fine. Only a flower pot fell down. Scott says that, "Why are you so interested? Are you interested in my wife? Whenever she comes near the swimming pool, do you always keep looking at her?" Mike says that you are a very bad person. And then he left. He was very disturbed. Lisa asks him what happened when he came home. Mike tells her everything. Lisa says that, "Did you call the police?" Mike says no. Lisa says that you shouldn't have gone to them like this. Something could have happened to you too. Whatever is going on is between them. You can't interfere like this. Mike was still not ready to accept this. Lisa says that something is wrong. You have become a little different these days. Then Lisa asked him to leave the house. The next day, Mike took all his stuff, and when he was leaving, he wanted to talk to Jenna last time, so he went to her house. He asked her if she was fine. Jenna says that everything is fine. But now she is not going to live with Scott. She has an ex-boyfriend, the one she talked to. She is going to live in his empty house. Mike told Jenna that I am also leaving the house. Jenna thinks that maybe it happened because of her. But Mike says that we both had a lot of problems. Mike says to Jenna that I will rent a nice apartment. If you want, you can come and live with me. Jenna doesn't like this plan, and she doesn't have any feelings for Mike. Mike also left the house. Mike calls his son and says that there are only a few problems between me and your mother. I will stay out of the house for a few days. But his son told him that his mother said that you both will get divorced. One day his friend Brian came to meet Mike. He asked Mike if anything happened between you and Jenna. Mike says no. Brian says that he just saw her on the signal she is still with Scott. When Mike hears about this, he feels very strange. The next day he came to pick up his stuff. He used this as an excuse and came to see Jenna again. Mike talked to Jenna and asked her that you didn't go. Jenna says that I am pregnant now and loves this child. She says that these days Scott and I are going on a couples counseling. We will solve all the problems. Mike says that it's good. Today, Mike realized his mistake, and he tries to convince Lisa again. He wanted to cook dinner for her, but Lisa completely ignores him. At night, Jenna was a little upset, so she came out and started smoking. Mike sees this and tells her that it's not good for the baby. Scott saw it from the house and came to Jenna and started yelling at her. Mike gets angry at him and tells him not to treat her like this. He was dragging Jenna inside the house. Mike tried to kill Scott, but Scott punched Mike. He took Jenna home. Mike got up again and tried to stop Scott. Scott was trying to get Mike out of the house. Then Mike got a round bat in his hand. He hit Scott's head hard. His head started bleeding a lot. Jenna got angry at Mike and asked him what he did. She told Mike to get out of the house and called the ambulance. But Scott was already dead. This is where the movie ends. I bring a lot of movies. So please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to press the bell notification icon. We will meet again with another new movie. Thank you for watching. Take care.